I dare say, Dr. Qubaty, you did not expect to see President Saleh return. That true?
Well, yes, I think so, but there were some indications that the whole mandate he has passed to his vice president went into trouble. And the vice president, we heard last night and before, that he was threatening to leave the country because the nephews and sons of Ali Abdullah Saleh didn't want to badge at all.
Now the question is, does the return of President Saleh make more likely the spread of the violence and the slipping of Yemen into full-scale civil war?
I think that's a possibility, because if he was intending, actually, as rumors go on now, that he's coming back to implement the GCC initiative, they could have signed that initiative in Riyadh instead of coming back and flaring up all these troubles.
To remind people, the GCC initiative you talk about was the attempt to get a negotiated settlement where he would agree to relinquish power. There would be an arrangement for early elections. That has not been achieved, and what we seem to see now is what looks dangerously like an internal war within the armed forces, for example, where one of the leading generals is now leading the fight against Saleh's forces. Do you in the opposition want to see armed intervention against Saleh's forces?
Before armed intervention, Stephen, would have liked to see some pressure on him. We haven't seen till now any measures actually which had been taken before in Syria, in Libya, in Egypt, everywhere. They haven't frozen the assets of the man or his entourage. There haven't been any...
You're talking about the international community.
Yes. Before stepping into any sort of ground intervention or even a no-fly zone, there should have been some measures to pressurize the man. There's a lot of atrocities and crimes against human rights which have not been referred to the ICC.
But Dr. Qubaty, you know full well the reason the international community hasn't put more pressure on Saleh and his regime is because they fear if he goes, that will be a green light for Al-Qaeda and other jihadi extremists to expand their operations inside Yemen.
Come on, Stephen, we've got now the reports from Pakistan that the military, intelligence of the Pakistani were involved in encouraging the Taliban and the rest of these extremists. The same thing has been going on in Yemen. Ali Abdullah Saleh has been playing with this man. We were the people fighting, and I came with you, and it has been proven now that the people who were fighting those extremists in Abyan and down in those small towns where Ali Abdullah Saleh led this mill took over, it was us. It was the revolutionaries and the army with the revolution.
But in brief, and the bottom line, if Saleh and his followers go now, the result could very well be chaos.
No, if he relinquishes power, as the agreement goes, that's a settlement. But if he goes on to stick by force, by hook or crook, to rule, then we're facing a lot of trouble.
Mohamed Qubaty, thanks very much for coming into the GMT studio. Sir Paul McCartney.